Hi everybody, I'm Phil Thompson and welcome to this mini lesson video on the 2013-14 South Carolina Clinic All-State Required Etude for Flute. I'm going to start off with a brief description of how I played the piece, give you some ideas maybe for a performance yourself, followed by a performance of the piece. I do ask you to, first of all, watch the intro video to All-State Band Auditions, which is available at the instructional videos drop-down page of my website, www.woodwindperformance.com, before you watch this video. Anyway, I hope these will give you some ideas, and best of luck with this year's audition. Carl Gaylert's 30 Caprices for Flute were written a little over 100 years ago. He wrote them for a friend to be more challenging, more difficult, and I think more difficult to hear as you play them than a lot of etudes written before them. It's the kind of music I refer to with my students as unpredictable. In that, I mean, it is tonal, but there are a lot of accidentals and larger intervals. There are rhythms that you don't see as often. All of this makes the music less predictable as you play it. I think it also makes for very challenging sight reading material. It is also a challenging piece for clinic band level all-state band auditions. If you look also at the way he wrote some rhythms, you may be wondering, for instance, in the first bar as an example, why beat 3 he separated the C and the G when they're all 4/16 notes representing beat 3 of the measure. That's because I think he wanted you to think of the first 5 notes as a motive or a group of notes, followed by this slur marking, which goes into the downbeat of 4, this slur goes into the downbeat of 1. That's how he wants you to group the notes. As again, like I said, unpredictable from what you're probably used to playing. So beware of the way he wrote the rhythms. It makes it very interesting to read and very interesting to listen to. I recorded this piece 4 or 5 times before I chose the recording to put on YouTube, and I didn't breathe the same place every time I played it. I think that's okay. That's one of the challenges of this style of early 20th century music. You can listen to 5 different flute players play this, and all 5 of us are going to breathe in somewhat different places. Again, unpredictable. You'll also notice as you play through the piece larger intervals. My dear friend and saxophone teacher James Riggs at North Texas used to call this angular music, and it just moves up and down more with bigger intervals, makes it more interesting to listen to, more challenging to play. Watch the big intervals, and of course on flute, make sure you don't go sharp and pop out the top of the 2 notes, the topmost of the 2 notes as you play the larger intervals. You also might be interested to know Carl Gaylert wrote 25 saxophone etudes, very similar to these, although some of them are even harder than the flute etudes. You can play these you can play the saxophone etudes on the flute, minus low B flats, I guess, or low Bs if you don't have a low B foot joint, but they make for very interesting reading. Anyway, listen to me play this piece. It has a lot of flexibility in it. Make sure you're playing it correctly, watch out for the accidentals, make it flow forward. But what I really suggest to you as serious students is practice through all 30 of these etudes when you have the time. Really study them. They will expand your ear and help you play better, and I assure you ultimately they will help you sight read, which we'll talk about on a later YouTube video. Anyway, listen to me play this now. Very interesting piece. I hope this helps, and best of luck with this year's audition.